Back in October 2005, when I was 15, my family and I lived in an apartment above an Esso gas station in Bostrak, Norway. One night, I had a vivid dream. A little blond boy, probably around 8 or 9 years old, appeared in our living room. He was crying and wearing a striped t-shirt with a silver star on the chest. When he saw me, he started speaking in Swedish. Even though I'm Norwegian, I understood him, especially the words, bus accident. He kept pointing down towards the Esso station. I woke up on October 31st, convinced that a bus was going to crash into the station. I told my mom and dad everything about the dream, but my dad just told me it was a nightmare and to get over it. Still, I couldn't shake off my anxiety. Every time a bus stopped at the station, I was sure it would crash. But nothing happened. Later that evening, my siblings and I went down to the station to buy snacks for a horror movie marathon. That's when I saw the newspaper headline, Bus Accident in Tenerife. The article had a picture of a bus in front of a Shell gas station. I had to buy it. It turned out a Swedish tourist bus had gone off the road in Tenerife, not far from the airport, with 28 people on board. A Norwegian tour guide had died. The article's main picture showed two blonde boys crying after the accident. One of them looked exactly like the boy in my dream. Young, about 8 or 9, in a striped t-shirt with a star in the middle. He had survived the accident. I don't believe in psychics, mediums, witches, or anything paranormal. But I still have that newspaper to remind myself that I don't know everything. How could a little boy appear in my dream, someone I had never met, to warn me about an accident that was happening at the same time in another part of the world on October 30th, 2005? I've never had anything like that happen to me again, and I still can't explain it. Not me, but my cousin had a couple of strange and comforting experiences after our grandmother passed away. We were both very close to her, and it felt like she was still looking out for us even after she was gone. A few weeks after the funeral, my cousin was having a rough day. She was really missing our grandmother and feeling down. To cheer herself up, she decided to have some kiwis. Our grandmother was allergic to kiwis, so it felt a bit rebellious. My cousin had a 4-pack of kiwis in the fridge, and she took out 2 and ate them. They were fresh and sweet, and for a moment, she felt a bit better. The next morning, my cousin went back to the fridge to grab breakfast. When she opened the door, she saw something that made her freeze. The pack of kiwis, which should have had 2 left, still had 4 kiwis inside. She was sure she had eaten 2 the night before. It was as if the kiwis had magically reappeared. It spooked her at first, but then she wondered if it was our grandmother's way of reminding her not to be sad and to keep smiling. About a year after our grandmother's passing, something else happened. On the anniversary of her death, my cousin was feeling the loss deeply. Before leaving for work, she spoke out loud, telling our grandmother how much she missed her. It was a simple moment, just speaking into the air, hoping somehow our grandmother could hear her. When my cousin came home that evening, she found something surprising. On the floor, right in the middle of her living room, was a birthday card. It was from our grandmother. The card had been stored safely inside a book on a bookshelf, tucked away for safekeeping. There were no pets or other people in the house who could have moved it. It seemed impossible for the card to have just appeared like that. My cousin picked up the card and read the sweet message inside, tears welling up in her eyes. It was as if our grandmother had found a way to send her a little reminder of her love. That small, unexpected gift brought my cousin a lot of comfort and peace. These experiences were both a little spooky but also deeply touching. They made us feel like our grandmother was still with us, keeping an eye on us and sending little signs of her love from beyond. It reminded us that love doesn't end with death. It stays with us, finding ways to let us know we are never truly alone. When I was 15, my dad passed away. Even though he was gone, it always felt like he was still watching over us, keeping us safe. One night, when my niece was just a little toddler, something truly strange and wonderful happened. My sister and I were downstairs, lounging on the couch and watching TV. The house was quiet except for the TV, and we were completely absorbed in our show. My niece was asleep in her room upstairs. She had been fine when we put her to bed, her little face peaceful as she drifted off to sleep. We had no idea anything was wrong. Suddenly, out of nowhere, there was a loud crash. A framed picture of my dad as a baby had fallen off the wall on the staircase. The glass shattered everywhere, pieces scattering across the steps. It startled us, making us jump off the couch. We hurried over to clean up the mess, worried someone might get hurt on the broken glass. As we got closer to the stairs, we heard a faint, distressing noise coming from my niece's room. Our hearts dropped. We realized it was her, choking and gasping. We rushed into her room and saw she was in serious trouble, choking on her own vomit. We quickly helped her, and soon she was breathing normally again. The relief was overwhelming, but the shock of what had just happened left us shaken. Later, as we cleaned up the last of the broken glass, my sister and I talked about how strange it was for the picture to fall at that exact moment. The picture had hung there for years without any problems. It was as if something, or someone, had made it fall on purpose. We couldn't help but think it was my dad. It felt like he had been watching over us, looking out for his granddaughter. That crash had been his way of getting our attention, making sure we went upstairs in time to help her. From that night on, we felt my dad's presence even more. We knew he was still with us, protecting us in ways we couldn't always see or understand. That picture falling wasn't just a random accident. It was my dad, watching over us from wherever he was, still loving and caring for his family. And so, every time we passed that spot on the stairs, we would smile, remembering that night. It was a reminder that love never truly leaves us and that sometimes, the ones we've lost are never really far away.